Start. Aniket, you can start.
Ma'am, meditation.
I'll do at the end.
Okay, ma'am. So, in the last class, we saw that Robinson Crusoe built a home, made the things he needed, and got food. Today, we'll see what. Today, we'll see the next chapter. The years passed by. One by one, the years went by. Each year, I learnt more and more. I found that there was no summer or winter on this island, but there were rainy seasons and dry season. I learned lot to plant my grain at the beginning of the dry season. I learned not to let the rainy season come upon me when I had no food put by, for I could not hunt in the rain. I learned that if I put branches from one kind of tree into the ground at the start of the rainy season, they would grow and form a thick fence. I used these trees to make fences around the fields in which I kept my goats. I made myself a little house of these trees in the valley where the grapes grew. Sometimes I stayed there for 2 or 3 weeks at a time in the dry season. It was in the valley that I had my grain field. The ground was rich and the rain grew well. Grain grew well. I needed some basket to carry my grain. As a boy, I had watched a basket maker who used small branches from a willow tree. The trees I used to make my fence were very much like willow. So one day I cut some small branches from those trees and tried to make a basket from them. My baskets were not beautiful, but they were very useful. I made plenty of baskets in the rainy season when I had to stay in my cave. But I could not make the basket tight so the small grain would not run out. I found some clay and made pots which were smaller than the basket. When they were dry, I put one inside each basket. I put straw between the basket and the pot to keep it from breaking. The pots would hold my grain, but they would not hold water. I needed something to carry water in and to cook in. Then one day I saw a broken piece of clay pot that had fallen into my fire. It was bright red and as hard as a dish. I said to myself, well, if they will burn hard like they when they are broken, will see if I can burn one hard that is not broken. So I made some small pots. I placed a pile of wood around them and set the wood on fire. I kept the fire going for 5 or 6 hours, then I let it down slowly. I could hardly wait till the pots were cool to try them. They were lumpy and thick, but they were hard as could be. I filled one with water almost before it was cold and set it on fire. Soon the water was boiling. I put in some goat meat and made very good soup. I made some larger pots that I used as ovens. I would build a hot fire on a large flat stone. When the stone was very hot, I would push the fire off it. Then I put my bread on it. It would turn one of my big pots upside down on the top of the stone to keep the heat in. The bread would bake just as if they were an oven. Before I could make bread, I had to find a way to grind my grain. The rocks on the island were soft. Little pieces broke off when the pounded my grain on them. These little bits of rock did not taste good. I cut a big block of the hard wood I could use to make my spade. Then I used on one place in the middle of it to hold my corn. I pounded the corn with another piece of wood until I had fine enough to make bread. In this warm, rainy country, clothes soon wore out. The first thing to wear out my caps. The sun was so hot that I had to cover my head. I made myself a hat of dried goat skin. With the hat on the outside, the rain ran right off it. And it was so big that I kept the sun off me well too. When all of my clothes wore out, I made myself a goat skin. I used a little piece of bone with a hole in it for a needle. I used a thin strip of skin for thread. I also made myself an umbrella. I cut up many goat skin before I made an umbrella that would work. I had to find a way to make it let down so that I could carry it under my arm. By this time, I had been on the island 11 years. I was the king of the island. But the only ones I had to rule on were some cats, an old dog, some goat, and a parrot. The palace was a cave I had dug with my own hands. The table and the chair it had been made by the same hands. I do not think any king would have wanted his people to see him in clothes such as I am wearing. But they suited me very well. I had all I wanted to eat. I had a safe place to sleep. I was alive for these things. I thanked God every day. A change in my life. All the years I was working on my island, I was thinking about the other island I would see from the top of my hill. Maybe if I could get over one of those islands, I could get them on the mainland. I could find some other people and ship that would take me home. Of course, I knew that the people on those islands might be savages who would kill and eat me. But I thought that I would take the chance. One time after a storm, I found a small boat had washed way up on the shore. It laid bottom side up at a long way from the water. I worked as hard as I could for 3 weeks, but I could not move the boat. I even tried to dig the sand off the from the boat. I did not get it on the right side up, but I could try. I could not move it to the water. Then I tried to make a boat. I went to the woods and cut down the biggest tree I could find. It was 5 feet thick and it took me 2 weeks to cut it down. It took me another 2 weeks to cut off the branches and pull them away. It took me 4 weeks to cut the tree into something that looked like a boat and 3 times that long to chop out the outside. The boat was big enough to hold many men, so I was sure it would hold one man two cats, and an old dog. Now I had to do was get into the water. The boat was in a little valley about 300 feet from water. I tried, but I could not move the water. I was very unhappy when I thought all the work I had done, but in I learned something. After that, I thought a little longer before I started something. It was another year or two before I tried again to make a boat. This time I cut down a smaller tree near a little stream. I rolled the log down near the water before it began to work on it. I made the boat big enough to hold one man. When it was done, I had to dig a small waterway to get it into the water. I fixed a little sail for the boat. I fixed little boxes inside it where I could put food, water and gunpowder so they would not get wet. I fixed a place to put my big umbrella so the sun would not shine on me. Then I took some small strip in the boat. I was afraid not to go very far until I learned how to make it go where I wanted to go. But soon I could do that well. Then I made my mind to sail the boat around my island before I tried to sail on the other islands. I sailed down my little creek and out into the sea. It was only a little way from the shore when I felt the water take my boat and start to carry it out to the sea. I could not, I could do nothing and to stop it. There was no wind. My sail could not help me. This is the end of me, I thought as my boat went further and farther from the island. Soon I would be carried out into the open sea. I would starve even if my boat was not turned over by a storm. I looked back at my island as the most wonderful place in the world. When the island was almost lost to the sight, I felt a breeze in my face. At once I set my mast and sail. I could still see the island, so I knew how to go. The wind began to blow directly toward it. I my boat moved rapidly, going straight ahead
अनिकेत एक
of the
मिनट,
wind.
लेट मी नाउ से। इसमें ये था कि अगर रॉबिन्सन क्रूसो को इतना एडवर्स सिचुएशंस थे, आप लोग सबने देखा ना कि उसके अगेंस्ट नेचर भी उसके अगेंस्ट जा रहा है, फिर भी उसने होप नहीं हारा, उसने हिम्मत नहीं हारी। राइट, उसने बोला नहीं, मेरे को करना है, मेरे को अगर सरवाइव करना है इतना आंधी तूफान में, इतना कैलेमिटीज में भी, मेरे को अगर जिंदा रहना है, मेरे को सबके साथ रहना है, सब कुछ करना है, तो मैं लड़ूंगा। चाहे कोई भी सिचुएशन आओ, मैं हटूंगा नहीं, मैं लड़ूंगा। मैं उसको फेस करूंगा, खुशी खुशी फेस करूंगा और अपने अंदर वो लाऊंगा, एनर्जी लाऊंगा कि यस आई कैन डू इट, आई विल डू इट। सो यही चीज बताया गया है। और कुछ है अनिकेत, तो हम लोग को बताओ। हेलो।
Yes, ma'am. After
यही चीज है कि और भी कुछ बताया है? बताना बेटा। अभी तक
उसमें
जो आपने बताया, उससे क्या अपने को सीखने मिलता है,
उसमें
आपको क्या लगता है?
मैम उसका जो ये
हम्म।
जब उसका क्लोथ खराब हो गया था, उसका कैप
हम्म।
फट गया था, तभी वो हिम्मत नहीं हारा और उसने गोट स्किन से एक हैट बना दिया।
वेरी गुड। तो वही चीज, अपने को सबको हिम्मत नहीं हारना है। एक बार अगर नंबर्स अच्छे नहीं आए एग्जाम में, कोई बात नहीं, दूसरी बार मेहनत करेंगे, उस बार अच्छे आएंगे, है ना। आप देखे हो कभी कोई चींटी को, देखे हो आप लोग? वो एक शुगर का उसको इधर से उधर ले जाने के लिए कितना मेहनत करता है, आप लोग सब देखे हो, है ना।
हाँ मैम।
बार बार गिरता है, बार बार उठता है, बार बार गिरता है, बार बार उठता है ना। तो आप लोग को भी लाइफ में बहुत सिचुएशंस आएंगे जब आपको लगेगा कि मैं आगे नहीं बढ़ पाऊंगा, मेरे से नहीं हो पाएगा। बस अपने आप को क्या बोलना है, आई विल डू इट, आई कैन डू इट, आई विल डू इट, आई कैन डू इट, क्या बोलना है, तीनों जन एक साथ बोलो, अनम्यूट करो।
I will do it. I can do it.
I will do it. I can do it.
यस। और शिवम।
Ma'am, I will do it. I can do it.
वेरी गुड। तो अभी हम मेडिटेशन करें आज। हम्म।
मैम ये खत्म होने के बाद मैं स्टार्ट करेंगे क्या?
हाँ
एक
अभी
चैप्टर
बाकी है
खत्म।
बेटा। ठीक है। ओके, यू फिनिश
हाँ।
दिस एंड देन वी आर गोइंग टू डू मेडिटेशन, ओके बेटा।
ओके मैम।
हम्म।
The wind began to blow directly toward it. My boat moved rapidly, going straight ahead of the wind. Finally, I got quiet water near the shore. By that evening, I had reached the land again. I fell on my knees and thanked God for saving me. My life on the island had been pretty much the same day after day and year after year. I had been now there 15 years. I had two homes, the one in the valley where I raised my grain and dried my raisins, and the first one which I made when I first came to the island. At each of my homes, I had made fields in which I kept goats, so I was never without milk and cheese. I had many baskets of grain in the cool, dry part of my cave. I had found a way I had found a way to make clay pots better, so I had all the pots and pans I needed. One day I went out for a walk on my island. I looked down and saw my print of a man's bare foot on the sand. At once I was very much afraid. I stopped and looked all around, but I could see no one. I walked up and down the shore trying to find some more footprints. There was just one, and I came back out looking at it again. It was the print of a very large foot. I could see the toes and the heel were very well. I knew a man had made it. I I was so afraid that I ran for my home. I got inside so fast that I don't know whether I climbed the ladder over my fence or whether I went in through the rock. I shut down the door in the rock and took my ladders inside. I did not go to sleep that night at all. Yes, ma'am, finished.
लोग सबका, ऑल ऑफ यू स्विच ऑन योर वीडियो। अनन्या, शिवम, जब आप ध्यान कर रहे हो तो आप लोग को वीडियो ऑन रखना है, सो दैट आई कैन सी आप लोग सही से कर रहे हो कि नहीं। शिवम, अनन्या, प्लीज केवल वीडियो ऑन करो बेटा। धीरे से आप लोग अपने तीनों लॉक को लगा लें, कोई भी आंख नहीं खोले।
मैम बाहर हूँ मैम, थोड़ा ठीक है, करती हूँ मैम।
ओके ओके ओके, ठीक है, कोई नहीं, ओके। आप लोग आंखें बंद करें, हाथ को क्रॉस करें, पाँव को क्रॉस करें, कोई भी आंख नहीं खोलेगा, बस अपनी श्वास पे ध्यान देना है, अपनी आती हुई श्वास और जाती हुई श्वास। जस्ट कॉन्सेंट्रेट ऑन योर ब्रीदिंग। वी ऑल आर रॉबिन्सन क्रूसोज। हाउ, यू पीपल विल आस्क? इतने दिन से हम ये सीख रहे हैं, रॉबिन्सन क्रूसो। यू नो इट वेरी वेल। हम लोग कैसे हैं सब रॉबिन्सन क्रूसो। रॉबिन्सन क्रूसो ने क्या किया था, उसने सबसे ज्यादा हार्ड सिचुएशन में उसने तरीके निकाले कैसे उसको फेस कर सके। हार्डशिप पीरियड को भी उसने he find out ways to do it. क्या हुआ शिवम, आंखें क्यों खुली है? एकदम शांति से बैठना है, कोशिश करो बैठने का। शुरू में डिफिकल्टी होगा, फिर धीरे धीरे ठीक हो जाएगा। आंखें नहीं खोलना, बिल्कुल भी कुछ भी हो जाए आंखें नहीं खोलना। मैं देख रही हूँ सबको।
मैम मैं थोड़ा नेटवर्क इशू था।
कोई नहीं, आप आंखें बंद करो, वापस से बैठ जाओ ध्यान में। You imagine, all of you imagine yourself as Robinson Crusoe. Wonderful reading done by Aniket from so many days. And what is Robinson Crusoe teaching us? That even if we are in the most difficult situation, we have to come out of it. We have to find ways to resolve a situation like he does. He is never disheartened, my children. In the similar way, we should never be disheartened. If God has given us a hardship, He will also show us the way to come out of it. We should know how to come out of every situation. There are times when there is no one to help you out. You yourself has to find a way out of it. If God has given us night, He also gives us day. Right? Similarly, if He gives us summer season, after that, what He'll give us? He will give rainy season. So, He is finding a solution to everything. Similarly, in our life, we'll have so many ups and downs. Sometimes we don't like few people in our family, the way they behave with us. What we will do? We will still forgive them. Okay, fine, he has come to teach us something. कोई बात नहीं, ऐसे लोग भी होते हैं, कोई बात नहीं, ठीक है। इनसे इनको भी देखेंगे हम। ऐसे चलना है लाइफ में। फिर कभी कोई बच्चा बहुत अच्छा करता है स्कूल में, क्लास में, आपको नीचे दिखा देता है सबके सामने, इसको तो कुछ आता नहीं है, इसको पढ़ना नहीं आता, लिखना नहीं आता। बहुत बच्चे बहुत बार ऐसे सिचुएशंस भी आते हैं लाइफ में अपने। तो उसको क्या बोलना है, वो मेरे को थोड़ी बोल रहा है, मेरी बॉडी को बोल रहा है, मेरी सोल को थोड़ी बोल रहा है, वो मेरी बॉडी को बोल रहा है। हम लोग क्या है, हम लोग सब वी आर देवात्मन के, मतलब हम लोग देव के रूप हैं। वी ऑल आर गॉड्स। व्हाट ही इज टेलिंग, नहीं सुनने का। अगर आपको पता है ना आप क्या हो, यू पीपल नो ना whom you are. If you are true to yourself, then the world cannot move you from an inch here and there. You know that, children? Just be true to yourself. इसलिए मैंने अफर्मेशन दिया कि चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, आई विल डू इट, आई कैन डू इट। आपको पता है इम्पॉसिबल वर्ड में क्या है? आई एम पॉसिबल। द वर्ड itself is I am possible. There is nothing impossible. आप सबको पता है, आप अपनी रियलिटी खुद क्रिएट करते हैं आप लोग सब। आपको पता है, यू पीपल क्रिएट योर ओन रियलिटी। अपने जो बोलते हैं ना, मैंने तो ऐसे सोचा था, ऐसे ही होगा, वैसे ही होता है। आप अगर ये सोचते हो ना ऐसा होगा, तो वैसे ही होगा। बिकॉज आप अपने क्रिएटर खुद हो। आपका क्रिएटर और कोई नहीं है, ये बात आप याद रखिए। आपका क्रिएटर और कोई नहीं है, आप खुद हो। तो हमें हमेशा अच्छा काम करना है। वी हैव टू डू समथिंग गुड फॉर एवरीवन, every people. Then what will happen? We'll get good back. बोलते हैं ना, किसी को अगर आप देखते हो, साइंस में देखा है ना, बॉल ऊपर की तरफ फेंकते हो तो वापस बॉल ही आता है, आसमान तो नहीं आता ना। आप किसी की तरफ फूल फेंकोगे तो फूल ही आएगा, पत्थर तो नहीं आएगा ना, कांटा तो नहीं आएगा ना। वैसे ही लाइफ में यू हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी काम, वेरी वेरी नाइस। Just take a deep breath, all of you, and then slowly put your hands on your eyes and open with a beautiful smile. Thank you, children.
मैम।
थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू मैम।
Thank you. एंड
मैम।
मंडे को आप लोग का क्राफ्ट क्लास है, आर्ट का क्लास है। हम लोग कॉटन बड से पेंटिंग बनाएंगे, ओके?
ओके।
आप लोग सब
यस
जुड़िए।
मैम, यस मैम।
सुमित्रा
मैम।
मैम डाल देंगी क्या क्या चीज चाहिए, मैं बता दूंगी बच्चों। ओके, बोलो अनिकेत।
मैम, मैं कल 2 बजे बैंगलोर पहुंचा हूँ। 2 बजे।
मुझे पता है, आप बोले ना, इसलिए आप
हाँ।
नहीं देख पाए थे, कोई बात नहीं।
रात का
देखो,
रात का 2 बजे। रात का 2 बजे।
ओके ओके, ठीक है। तो अभी जितने जन जुड़ सकते हो आप लोग जुड़ो। आप लोग किसी के ट्यूशंस रहते हैं क्या 7 to 8 o'clock? एनी वन ऑफ यू आर हैविंग ट्यूशंस? नो। ओके, वेदांत अभी अभी ट्रैवल कर रहा है बॉम्बे वापस ना, तो उसने बोला वो भी नहीं जुड़ पा रहा है, इसलिए कोई नहीं, बिकॉज एवरी वन इज इन हॉलीडे मूड ना। सबको तो मस्ती करनी है, अभी छुट्टियां हैं। हम लोग जुड़ेंगे, मैम फिर से आएंगी। शील टीचर अ ब्यूटिफुल पेंटिंग, ओके? कॉटन बड से पेंटिंग, समथिंग न्यू ना, है ना? वी कैन मेक, ओके? एंड आई टेल यू पीपल क्या क्या चीज चाहिए, ओके? चलो, गुड नाइट, टेक केयर, बाय बाय ऑल
थैंक
ऑफ
यू
यू।
मैम।